This is the journal of Imanwyn of the House Norl of the great city-state of Abishad, heir to the scepter of stars, though I shall never hold it, praetor of the College of Saints, and wealthy beyond measure. If any thieving cur has stolen this book, and is reading these words, may Himbar strike thy soul from thy body and cast thee into the 37th hell forever. This solemn dog, in the 37th summer of the King Ern's reign, as it is measured. Today I have made a purchase which may prove allegations that I've become overly whimsical in my old age. Bar had some tribesmen from the western frontier brought in, and among them was an old heathen man, which caught my eye. At first I was amazed he'd survived the capture and journey, though I had no intention of buying him. But the catcher told me that this man was a shaman of some sort, trained in medicine and poisons, astrology, or whatever passes to heathens as astrology, and allegedly magics. I could not say why, but I took an interest in the man. His eyes were quite catching, if nothing else, and I thought he might make a good conversation starter as a house slave, and he was not prohibitively expensive. The shaman did not speak any civilized tongue, so I bought a girl who could translate as well. Perhaps pretty enough to train as a bed slave, but I already have so many. Perhaps Eartha can use her in the kitchen. The girl calls herself Uo, which I found quite quaint, and the old man she calls Shima Nuthnal, though I suspect one of those words is a title of some sort, which I'll have her unlearn. Perhaps I could have the old man perform some trick at my next party, some smoke and mirror affair to put the woman out of sorts. That alone would pay for the cost, I think. This, a dim dog, in the 37th summer of King Ern's reign, as it is measured. The new slave, who is now called Nuthna, has been quite entertaining, and in some unexpected ways no less. Several of the heathen slaves were nervous at his arrival and subsequent treatment by Tilal, my trainer, but the man himself seems to have taken quite well to slave life, offering no resistance or disobedience to me or any of my staff. Uo is reluctant, as most fresh slaves are, but Tilal is always efficient in his work, and she'll be properly broken soon. Lord Rel advised me, during his visit, that I not keep a shaman slave, that it's taboo and invites mischief by the gods. Well, I invite it! Girba, Yeshyalu, any of the gods of tricks and ruses, I invite you wholeheartedly to amuse me so. Let this heathen be your harbinger. In fact, I believe them to already be at work. Uo has told me that Nuthna sees in me something she translates as the wisdom eye, and that the old man wants to teach me magic. This is either some ploy to garner favor or the conspiracy of a vengeful old slave. Either way, I've decided to indulge it and send for materials the old man has requested, provided my physician can guarantee they cannot be used to poison me. This Haraldog, in the 37th summer of King Ern's reign, as it is measured. The flood season is in full swing, and my farms are projected to produce a fortune this year. So much for taboos and heathen curses. Despite myself and my skeptical nature, I find the heathen's arts to be absolutely fascinating. He has taught me some words of the Un, not their ugly heathen language, mind you, but something far, far older. I did some independent study at the library to find that Un predates the founding of Abishad, 1,000 years ago, and perhaps by much longer. I feel strange in the heathen's company, perhaps a symptom of my wisdom eye, but I find the whole affair to be quite stimulating. If this is a ploy for my affections, perhaps it's working too well. Yet, I cannot express the glee I feel when I see the horror in the other aristocrats' faces when I tell them a slave is teaching me heathen magics. I haven't felt this giddy since my first blood sacrifice when I came of age. Ah, that slave girl I gave to so little was such a pretty thing. Somewhat reminds me of Uo, actually, in the eyes. I never did learn how much my father paid for her, but it couldn't have been a paltry sum. I must rest early tonight. Nuthna says tomorrow I'll be ready for something special. Perhaps he'll succeed in poisoning me after all. If this is the last entry to this journal, may Himbar coil his bones around a cross in the 23rd hell, and may he suffer there broken until Ilofadir's eyes close upon all worlds. This, Eardog, in the 37th summer of King Iern's reign as it is measured. I don't know what to record here. Words do not do what I have experienced justice, for I have completed my first Kublat Kasa, and the experience was not one of the earth, nor of the mind, not of the body, nor of thought. I have become aware of what Nuthna calls the Sa, the veil, the blinding, the numbing. No other words do not avail it. It is the Sa. All gods, what have I lived from behind this curtain? What life was there before it was lifted? All before now seems as a lie, as an existence within an orb of lead, unmoving, unlit, and static. I have been given the smallest amount of space in which to breathe, and now I yearn for free air. Even now my eyes are closed writing this, and I cannot open them. Even now I am more heavily shackled than any slave I've ever owned, only now I feel. I am weeping. I am sure to smudge these letters, but my hand is steady. I have not slept nor eaten. I cannot. Nuthna says it will pass, and more will be revealed, and that gives me hope. Ah, if Lord Rel could see me now, or Lady Tyria, how they'd laugh. And yet I would weep for them, that they live underneath the unbearable weight of the Sa, and know not of it, feel nothing of what is true life. Nuthna says he will make a potion for me, so that I may forget for a moment and sleep. I hesitate, for I could never now give up what I have gained, though it has turned my life into sorrow and falsehood and pain. Perhaps he is yet to prove a traitor, and this potion will be a poison. And if so, let it be so. I am slow to care. This, Bivaldog, in the 47th autumn of King Erin's reign as it is measured. It has been many weeks. And now autumn has come. My friends at court fear for me, for they do not know, and I will not tell them. I have labored under Shimna Nuthnal's guidance diligently, with all the will this body and this mind can muster, and I have seen beyond the veil. Even now, in the corners of my vision, there is golden trimming of truth. Even now, though it is continuous labor, I live even a little bit outside the mercilessness of Sa. I've breathed the incense, sung the chants, made the sacrifices, and other things. Things I cannot describe, for shame still lives within me. These have brought me only so far. Yet I have come this distance with a longing in my heart that has given my life meaning after 56 winters of meaningless darkness. Praise and love to Shimna Nuthnal, to Bar for bringing him to me. Shimna Nuthnal says that another teacher must be summoned now. I have sent for the materials, but preparing them will be a work of many moons, I'm told. I will leave the harvest preparations to Talal. He is adequate enough to deal with paltry things such as that, and if he raises a fuss, I'll have Nira do it, or one of the slaves even. It matters not. This, Dave Shirn, 7th of the Yellow House, the Ziz Irikla, is nearly prepared. Even unfinished, I cannot describe to you its beauty. A mirror 10 feet tall of western green glass, polished for 7 days and 7 nights in the blood of men, 10 in the blood of beast, and 20 in the blood unseen. Hisko Tlu. I can almost move freely in my waking hours now, and in my dreams I visit the land promised almost every night, though I cannot always pass the stairs before I wake. I count them. Sometimes there are only a few dozen. Sometimes I wake with a count of thousands on my lips. Last night, I saw Vivni there. The slave girl I sacrificed to Salil in my youth. She was lovelier than in life, for now I can see her without the saw obscuring her truth and restraining my senses. We made love, she and I, and she was to me as no woman has been before. Inside one another, seeing within and through each other's selves. I could feel her hatred for me, as if it was my own, as if it was I who'd been trained beneath Talal's lash, and my blood that had been painted on the northern wall of Salil's false temple. I saw Talal today, bringing some trifles to me about the harvest. I could not look at him. I almost retched. I do not know if he noticed, but I doubt he would understand. And I care not either way. I can barely look at anyone who is unaware of Saw. They're disgusting to me. Not even people. Oh, and my heart aches to know this new teacher and to know what I will learn from them. Blessings to what is unknown. This day of Shib-Narath, king of pain, blessed day Shib-Na-Gorglaha. I have seen, I see, and I shall see forever. The image in the Zizir claw was so beautiful, I must sing. An angel, a spirit tall and lithe, with skin like moonlit snow, garbed in the flesh of shadows, hair the color of dying sunlight, eyes like fire and honey. A face, oh, a visage like an ageless creature, childlike, and yet infinite in wisdom and beautiful beyond reckoning, and terrible to behold. Recalling it now dimly, as memory of such a clarity is always dim, still I quake and I shiver. I cannot recount its name, nor to do so would be an affront. I sin even to recall it. I only wish to hear it again from those pale lips and that voice like a silver knife. May it pierce me. May I perish in that way and be grateful forever. I cannot fathom the incredible things it spoke to me. How could I even wish to, nor hope to be worthy of such lofty gifts? And yet it said that I was worthy, and spoke softly to me, with a voice that was love like I have never been loved. Shimoneth Norl says I will understand in time, and that I need meditate on the words, and yet, oh, how can I? For they tear at me so sweetly, they ring inside me like fire and glass, shattering me, scattering me into a sweet and sonorous darkness. And yet how can I not? How can I refuse this captivation? I, who am so weak before a might that I can barely understand, comprehend, how could I want to? Bivahaha, Iuvalo, Re'ir I am yours forever. You who I cannot name. I am yours forever if you will have me. This greatest blessed day of Yin, it who is master of everything I am has spoken to me from the Zizir Kla and called me to do a most blessed work. The words are like a cold water which quenches the fire of my impurity. I have seen the depths. I have been freed. The others, sinners that they are, lower than filth, lower still, cannot understand. They will try and impede me. And so I must be hidden from them. Everything that is true must be hidden. I must speak as though my mouth were sewn shut. Walk as if I were encased in iron. Look upon them as if my eyes were closed. They must think me as they are, though it sickens me to my core, sickens my heart to blackening and blasting doom. Yet if it is the work of it who is master which calls me to do it, then I shall do it singing. Slaves, masters, common folk, all will be needed. All will be the blood, Sigin Signa, and all will be shed for it who is master. The last of what is obscured will be made clear. The last of what is unknown will be made known. And I will be me, Zishe. Truly I, self beyond self, realized in the eye of what is. This is the journal of Rel, of the house Boev, of the great city-state of Abishad, loyal retainer to the throne of Ern, King of Kings. This, Solemn Dog, in the 37th winter of King Ern's reign, as it is measured. It has been a week since what cannot have happened has happened. I am still in shock and sorrow, still horrified, but I feel I must somehow try and recount what I have seen. The man who I am ashamed to think was my friend, Imanwyn of Norl, has done something I still cannot understand, no matter how many times it rises unbidden to my thoughts in the night as I lay sleepless. I shall start from the beginning. It started 2 seasons ago, in the summer, when he bought that damned heathen. I've counseled Bar not to bring slaves from the western frontier, for that land is evil, its people twisted, and here he came with a gaggle of tribesmen, women, and that shaman twice damned his soul. I swear to every god, I counseled my friend, I begged him, do not bring this man into your house. But Imanwyn was always fond of his damn controversy, and begging him not to do something always made him thrice as glad to do it. He began taking lessons from this slave in magic, heathen arts. My dear wife thought it harmless, but even then I felt fear. Not for his intention, but to spite it. I often would dream that Imanwyn would someday let his whimsy carry him to true disaster. Zersha warning me, doubtless. And yet I did nothing. Nothing of substance. I could have gone there, forced him to give up the slave. I could have brought it to court. I could have had the slave killed. If I had the sense. gods damn me not for this foolishness, however deserving I may be. I can only beg mercy. By harvest, we stopped seeing Imanwyn. He would not leave his estate. He did not come to court, nor did he oversee his crop, sending his clerk to Norl in his stead. Mercy for men who obey their masters when it is their doom. Only once did I see him all harvest, when I went to bother him for tea, desperate to learn what had become of him. I did not recognize the man I saw. His eyes were wild, bright, beyond sanity, as if looking straight through me. And the grimace on his face, you thought I was a soiled, bleeding slave someone had brought to a ball, so disgusted was he of what he saw, whatever he saw. It was not me, that I know. Whatever it was of an addled mind, completely devoid of humanity. If I have it wrong, him'll strike my soul. He wouldn't speak to me. The words he did say sounded tinged and mangled, as if in a foreign tongue, something I've never heard before, and would never care to again. I was afraid, and left. Tried to wash my hands of him. I know I am a coward, and I can only beg mercy to save me from a coward's hell. I should have stopped it then. I know I should have done everything I humanly could, yet I live now in the wake of what I did not do. Then, when winter equinox was upon us, Imanwyn sent the invitations to every house and criers in the streets, to commoners. And Norl could be seen buying slaves by the dozen, emptying the Norl coffers. Then even the most idiotic among us were suspicious, and yet Imanwyn had his guests, his victims, as many bodies as could fit in that house. I did not go, not at first. Yet I was racked with worry, could sense doom on the air. Had seen it in my dreams. Xerxes will damn me for ignoring them. And so I went late, near midnight. But by the time I'd arrived, the doom had already fallen. The paladins had surrounded the manor, were breaking down the doors, and when they did, I smelled the stench of blood so strong, I coughed bile into the street where I stood. I wish I had gone then, but I went to the door, and with them looked in on the aftermath of what Imanwyn had done. They say that once the party had started, servants, Western-blooded servants, locked all the doors from without. Whatever happened then left bodies, naked, carved into obscene, grotesque levels of gore. Imanwyn and his Western slaves among them, armed with sabers, grins on their faces, and tattoos and brands twisting around their dead, naked bodies. And amid all this carnage, a mirror, 10 feet tall, of a polish and a color the likes of which I have never seen and cannot describe, wouldn't want to. Sir Georg stepped in, bless his foolish heart, and I watched him wade through that blood and mess, that ruin and debauchery. As he neared the mirror, I think, I saw a shape, a form, lithe, tall, with a face like a child, through a dark lens of a nightmare. Sir Geor neared, hand on the hilt of his sword, as if to attack the image, but it bewitched him. I cried out, but he did not hear me, and I could not move forward to stop him. The image, the spirit, which the memory of haunts me now as I weep into this page, reached out from that accursed glass and touched his cheek, bent low to speak something into his ear. I thought I heard silver bells chiming far away. Then it was gone. When we reached Sir Geor, he was weeping, with a look not unlike I had seen in the mad eyes of Imanwyn months before. I knew then that he was lost, and I was not wrong. He lives yet, but he will not eat, nor speak, nor move at all. He sees only what he saw in that mirror, I think. I fear to look into his eyes, that I might see it too. I never want to see it again. I wish I never had.